everyone, welcome back to A+ Maths. Right, we're now up to trinomials. Trinomials have 3 terms. Up until now, we've only had 2 terms or a common factor. Let's have a look. We start with monic trinomials because they're the easier ones, and they'll always have a 1 in front of our x squared. Trinomials will always have the same form. They will always have an x squared, an x, and then a number at the end. Be careful because they sometimes mix them up and don't put them in the right order. So you might have to rearrange them first to put it in the right order. But it will always have an x squared, an x, and a number to make it a trinomial. Let's see some of these. Let's start with something that's not too difficult. X squared plus 7x plus 12. Straight away we can see that there's 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, and we have all the parts that we need. We have an x squared, we have an x term, and we have a number. We should be able to factorise this quite simply once we know how. In trinomials, the first thing you want to do is to make sure that they're in the right order. If it's not in the right order, you need to rearrange it, the expression, to put it in the correct order. The correct order is the x squared first, the x second, and the number last. Ours is in the correct order, so we're happy, we can continue. We want 2 numbers that multiply to give 12 and add to give 7. We know that we're factorising, and x times x is x squared. 2 numbers multiply to give 12 and add to give 7. If you don't know your times tables, you're going to find this a little bit difficult. Just bear with us. 4 times 3 is 12, so I like to write the 4 and the 3 so I don't forget about them. And now I have to think, how can I get plus 7 from 4 and 3? Plus 4 plus 3 will give me plus 7, and I just quickly check that plus 4 times plus 3 gives me 12. And so I know I'm right. Wasn't too bad, was it? X squared minus 6x plus 8. Again, the first thing we do is just check that it's in the right order. We have an x squared, we have an x, and we have a number. All good, let's continue. We have x, x. We know we have to multiply to give 8 and add to give minus 6. 4 and 2 give 8. So we write the 4 and the 2. And how can I get minus 6 from 4 and 2? And you just have to go through all the options in your head until it works. 4 plus 2 doesn't work, 4 minus 2 doesn't work. So we do minus 4 minus 2 will give me minus 6. And always check at the end. It's a good thing. If you check it, you'll always get it right. Minus 4 times minus 2 will give me my plus 8. Great, I know that I'm right and I can continue. X squared plus 12x plus 32. This one should be relatively easy now that we've done those 2. All in the right form, everybody gets that now. We're multiplying to give 32, adding to give 12. You write down your brackets, be prepared for whatever's coming. We then have to think of 2 numbers that multiply to give 32 and add to give 12. 8 fours are looking okay. So we write down 8 fours, and then we have plus 8 plus 4 gives me plus 12, and 8 times 4 will give me my 32. Some of you might have noticed that there might be little tricks to help me get the plus and the minus numbers. I don't want to go through those now because if you spot them, then it's good to use them. Otherwise, it just makes everything confusing and then you think there's a lot more to remember when there's not. We've had a look at the more simple questions on monic trinomials. I would like to show you a couple that are a little bit more difficult that might be thrown your way in a test. These questions will be a little bit more difficult. If you think you can have a try, go for it. And if not, watch the video and maybe you might understand it. If not, I wouldn't be overly concerned because these are the more difficult questions. We have a look. The first thing that should spark your attention is that it is actually not in the right form. We do not have an x squared, an x, and a number. We have an x cubed, an x squared, and an x. So something's very wrong here. But what we haven't done yet in this video is to always have to go back to my flowchart. Now remember the flowchart. What was that first thing in the flowchart? Take out a common factor. And we haven't had to do that yet. So let's have a look at that. Is there a common factor here? Yes, there is. So there's a 2, which is in each of the numbers, and there's an x that I can take out of each one of these terms. And if I take out 2x, what am I left with? X squared plus 7x, and then 2 times minus 8 gives me minus 16x. And now I have a trinomial left inside the brackets. The 2x stays there, he's already been factorised. And now I factorise out the brackets. It's not that difficult, you just have to have seen one before. Now I'm looking for a number that multiplies to give 8 and adds to give 7. This could be tricky, everybody's thinking of 4 and 2, which obviously doesn't work. So don't forget about 8 and 1. 8 times 1 is 8, and plus 8 minus 1 will give you plus 7. And as usual, always check last. Plus 8 times minus 1 will give me minus 8. So I know I'm right. And that was a little bit more tricky because I had to take out a common factor first. Another very common tricky question in trinomials is this one. X squared minus 8xy minus 9y squared. Again, the reason that this is more difficult is because it's not in my traditional form of x squared, x, and a number. Our problem here is that we have this extra y in our expression that makes it more difficult because it's not in your normal form. So let's think about what we can do. We know that we start by doing x and x. The only difference in this question than any other normal question is this y and the y squared at the end. And the way to deal with that is to put a y at the end, which means that y times y will give me that y squared. And then if I ignore the y now, because I've already dealt with it, and I only look at the numbers, which is minus 9, I'm multiplying to give minus 9, and adding to give minus 8. Everything in the middle will take care of itself when I expand the brackets. So what multiplies to give 9 and adds to give 8? Again, there's our 9 and 1. So we write down 9 and 1. We want minus 8, so that's minus 9y plus 1y. And let's just check it, just like always. Minus 9y plus 1y is minus 9y squared. And that's it. So it's nowhere near as difficult probably as what you think it is. You just have to have seen it before and know what to do. Thanks for watching again. Don't forget to subscribe below so that you get notifications when my new videos come out.